Welcome to Athena in Truth's YouTube channel, where we provide tips and insights for you to live your best life. I am your host, Heidi. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Today we have our special guest, Vera Kovacs. Welcome, Vera.
Hi everyone. It's nice to see you all in this manner because I'm watching your YouTube videos, so it's good to be here with you. So thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. So, Vera, if you would like to kind of give our audience a little background on your maybe childhood and when this channeling experience occurred for you and how it looked.
Yeah, actually, if I start from the back, so the last stage before I started channeling was COVID, and during COVID, as I stayed home, I don't have to go to work, to the office. I had plenty of time to practice everyday meditation. So this is how my, let's say, channel cleared up, so my senses cleared up, let's say, because I had this clear vision, like from time to time, but it was very, random how it appeared, like during working with people, with my previous practice of kinesiology or Reiki or whatever modality I was up to at the time. And I wanted to make, intentional. So just, switch it on and have that guidance for myself, and also if I can use it in my practice with people. So let's try it out. And I watched several YouTube videos, as I was always, like Bashar channeling and Abraham Hicks and all these big names. And I was resonating with it, and I know that this is my truth as well. So kind of life kicked me out of the nest, and I stopped going to a psychic. Like I went for her like 8 or 9 years, very, very long time. And life kicked me out of that relationship. And then COVID came. So I was driven by my higher guidance to, okay, let's learn it for yourself and do it for yourself. And this is how it came about at the time of COVID. And then I started to channel for myself. And then I went for another channeler, and she invited me later on into a women's group, kind of. And there where I have like-minded people. One time in my meditation, my guidance said to me that you should probably try out this channeling thing with others and in English, because I already tried out in Hungarian. And so I did with these people in this women's group, and it went very well. And so I went, open or public about it. And this is how it started last year. And so this is how I am now.
So the process was relatively quick then, huh? Within a year?
Well, yes. Well, the last stage was this few years, but I mean, that was my whole life preparing me to become that, and it is still changing. So channeling is kind of just a stage for me. So they always telling me now that, okay, it's nice to channel, but you have to embody that and be that master in form, and like speak the mastery in human form. So not just in those one-on-one sessions or those special channeling states when I meditate or something like that, but live my life 24/7 like that. So
I'm just curious, do you actually do the channeling unconsciously? Are you consciously aware? Are you hearing something and
consciously, yes.
So you kind of hear the words
yes.
coming in and then need to assimilate and repeat what it is that has come to you? Is that how you do it, or how do you describe it?
Actually, it's like thinking without thinking, or saying out words without knowing what the next sentence will be.
Sounds like how you do it, right?
Yeah,
Sounds
but I don't have a lot of recall. Like after I get done channeling, I have a hard time remembering the face of the person. I can't really remember the conversation. There might be a brief.
Yeah, it changes for me as well. After the session, like a few minutes, as we wrap up the session, most of the time I remember what I said, and then later, a few hours later, it was like a vivid dream, so I can recall.
I mean, I very much feel like something takes my body, my facial expressions become something that aren't mine. And so a lot of my bodily movements, depending on which one is channeling to me, because I have a group of consciousnesses that speak under one person, Athena, but there are 10 that are contributing. So at different points of time, I can feel the different expressions of consciousnesses. Let's use that. Sometimes it's male, sometimes it's female, sometimes it feels young, sometimes it feels old, sometimes it feels soft, sometimes it feels a little bit more direct, So there's definitely what I would determine as a sense of a personality, or a way about the being that is transmitting through me. But my body is taken. I mean, I do become a full body channel. I would categorize myself as, I'm not really conscious of it, so I don't know what you would actually call it. And as you said, it does start to evolve. Like it's becoming, I don't like to call myself a medium, because I don't want people calling me and asking me to find their purse, or if they're going to get married tomorrow, or those types of things. It's not like that, but there are times when I can feel something coming that is difficult for me as Robin to allow or to ask, because I know that they could say no, they could say that's not happened, or what I'm thinking. But the more that I become trusting and believing and embodying the whole idea of what it is that is happening, the more information that comes, and the more I'm able to just let go and not feel attached to what's coming out. And then I find that the sessions are getting better and better and better because of that.
Yeah.
Sure. So Vera, why don't you give us a little bit about your group, the Bringers of Life? Do you know how many are involved? Are they different streams of consciousness, or are they collectively all kind of speaking together? How does yours work?
Yeah, actually, for quite some time, they did not give me any name, so I was just this higher wisdom, as how I referred to that, and they said that they intentionally do not want to say any masters and so on. Later on, they said that the Christ Council is involved, so what we know as Yeshua and Miriam in the physical world, that's Jesus and Mary Magdalene, is involved, but they intentionally did not want to name specific masters or ascendant masters or groups, because the human ego is clinging on that. And again, I don't know, I don't want to say that judge the message or shut down because of religious connotations or whatever. So they wanted to leave it open, so that's why they gave this later on this broad term, Bringers of Light, and I usually describe it as an umbrella. So under it there are many groups. So what I sense, let's say, was first the Arcturian Council of Light and the Christ Council of Light, and I have some connections with the Blue Avians, and of course through Bashar, it's, I'm sure, with the Assassani beings and other extraterrestrial races. But actually, as I really don't care who tells the message, and they don't really care, as they usually watch it as a collective truth, so they do not put out the copyright sign after it, that we said it and it is coming from us, so it must be said. So they encourage me nowadays to say that you are telling it. Like Vera is telling this, and it is as valid as an ascended master would do, because how another being in front of you would discern the truth of that message. It doesn't matter who says it. If the message resonates with that other being, he or she will feel true, and not because an ascended master or an ET guy or whatever being is saying it. So that is how they want to encourage everyone to follow their own inner guidance and don't create another kind of religion or priesthood out of channelers. So that people are now coming not to the church, but coming to channelers to tell them how they should live their life or what's the best for them. Of course, it is good to get guidance when you feel lost or don't find your way, but the main purpose, as they said, that teach people how they can align with their own guidance and own truth. And this will be my question to Robin and Athena about, I heard about this course that you are giving, how this will, if you can give any details. I know that it is based on the book.
We do base the course on the book. However, we quickly veer from it depending on what it is that is brought to us or comes up in our exchanges with those that are participating. Really what our goal and our mission is in the work that we do is we want to connect humans to the divine part of themselves, because it's there, for one thing. It is never separate from them. It is that they deny the own divinity that they are through the energy entrapments that they're holding within the system, within their energetic field and the chakras. And so what we do in our courses, in our exchanges, we use the book as a guide. We are on the second half of the book, but it actually stimulates in a human circumstances and situations that they are encountering, that they are struggling with. And as we unravel those and show them where they are located in the energetic field, others can learn from that experience and then go on to detect energetic entrapments in themselves. Once a human opens up their energy centers and releases what it is that they have held in the form of trauma from experiences in their past lives, in their from their lineage and from the life that they are living, they become a clear, open vessel or a conduit to the divine to flow right into them. And it is true what you have said. We are in no way wanting to be over the top of anyone or make them feel as though we are in any form different than they are. We are not expressing right now in human form, but we liken ourselves to the human in the effect that we are pure consciousness without any energetic entrapments. Let's use that form. Therefore, have access to better wisdom, knowledge, understanding, more clarity, perhaps, than what a human may have. It is impossible for a human to be living its life and not be encountering fluctuations within the energetic field or the chakras. Every time they have an experience that they are liking or not liking, those energy centers are responding. They're either opening or closing. Some of those closings will be temporary based upon what they are experiencing. It won't matter that much to them. Maybe they had an angry clerk or a little argument with their spouse and they quickly get over it and then the energy center opens back up again. But sometimes when there is trauma involved, or say in childhood, there are things that can occur that cause the human to feel as though it has to protect itself. It doesn't realize that there's a divine part of you that's doing that for you. And so the human inadvertently will pinch off or close off the flow of energy coming into itself by holding on to painful emotions and actually clogging up the center, and therefore can't get the full flow of the divine coming in. This would be the only reason that a human would not be getting 100% satisfaction in all areas of their life. It would be because they were holding something that was contrary to what they actually were or have become by the experiences they've been feeling. And so this is primarily our function and what our goal is. We do a lot of Kundalini activations. We are very interested in stimulating a human's energy centers because we feel it is the fast track or the quickest way to get them to what they would call enlightenment, or the ability to release the attachments that have held them within the human vessel and have denied them their divinity. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I have a question, and we'll start with Vera. You can either answer it personally, or if you'd like to have your group come in and answer it, that would be fine. And then we'll go to Athena. So they were just talking about energy entrapments, and obviously we all have them and we all get stimulated. And sometimes someone might be working on something for a period of time and think that they've really made progress. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, something just spirals them out and they go deep and they feel like, oh my gosh, I've been doing all this work. Why is this occurring?
Can we interject
what would you
something,
say to
Heidi?
those people that
Can we interject
yes, absolutely.
something? Yeah, because you know how we are. A block of thought comes and Robin has to release it, or it will pass. Yeah.
Yes.
But what we really want to say is, and we are not criticizing you in any way. We love you, Heidi. Yeah. But when a human says they're working on something, right away, our ears pop open. Yeah. Because we know that it's the human that's doing the work, and the human isn't capable of releasing or transforming energy. The divine part of you does that. We tell a human it is what it is until it isn't anymore. And what we mean by that is the experience will grow to a degree where a human can no longer tolerate it. And so you are just to observe it, allow it, keep loving yourself through it. Yeah. Keep allowing what it is that you are experiencing. And in your view of it and in your love of yourself for understanding why you are feeling what you are feeling, very quickly, you are able to observe yourself in your experience and understand that the traumatic emotion that is being highlighted or coming up over and over again is something that had a great effect on you, and that it is something usually that anyone in your experience would have magnified or held on to. Yeah. And so as you allow yourself to feel yourself over and over again in the energetic entrapment, don't try to change it. Don't try to work on yourself. Don't try to condemn it or judge it or make it go away. Simply observe it in the love of it, and in the understanding that in that observation and in your love of yourself for revealing to yourself what is denying energy to you, the universe will work for you. It will actually make the changes. It will actually create so much energy coming into you through the love of self that thing that you yourself as a human were not able to overcome or change, this will be done automatically for you. So the motto of the day is, it is what it is until it is no longer. But it's your observation of it. You're noticing of the suffering. You're noticing of where you are preventing the divine flow from coming in. And you're getting that information from your human every time it experiences that emotion. And your job is to love it. Your job is to embrace that. And in that love and in that embracing of that emotion, the universe will be the one that will automatically change that for you. And you can give up the idea of conforming, of changing, of being different than you are, of condemning yourself because you're doing something over and over again, all the while not feeling good as you're doing it. You're missing your guidance system again. Yeah. So this is the comment that we would like to make in regard to that. Yeah.
Okay. And Vera, would you like to weigh in on that same question?
Yeah, I totally agree with Athena, and I experience it personally as what they refer to as a spiral, that you are evolving, going up on the spiral energetically and in awareness. Those patterns that you, let's say, roll out up in front of you when you decided to experience this physical life, that ball is going its way up on this spiral, so it will hit again the same areas again and again, but on a higher level. So as I experienced through my life, when I return to the same issue or same conflict, yes, the human self is, oh, it's again. What did why it appeared? I thought that I resolved it in my life, and so on and so forth. But later on, I always realized that, oh yeah, it was the same, but I was not the same. So I still experienced it differently and on a new level. And maybe I was in that, if it is a negative situation or pattern, I was in that negative pattern for like a few years in my life when I first created it for myself. Then when the second time I met it, I only was trapped in it for like few months, and now it is just a few hours. So this is how you evolve and clear your vision, and how you can integrate it, and how, as Athena said, how to embrace that, and don't look upon it as you made something wrong or you could not work it out, but rather look upon it as, oh yeah, I see my progress in it. I could handle it much better than last time. And how is it serving me? What could I learn at this time about this? And what do I want to change in my belief system around it? So next time, maybe it won't happen ever again, or if it happens again, it will shift to a let's say better or higher level. And
I think that's a beautiful description, Vera, of exactly how I would view it. Is it keeps happening, but it's lessened, and your observation of it isn't as intense. It's not as judgmental. It's not as condemning. And so it's like you look at it with new eyes. It's like you might have the same thing coming up, but you just don't put the same amount of energy into it anymore.
Yes.
I was going to ask, and I don't know if this applies in any way, but we're all born under different astrological signs, and there's certain things, like in my personality, I'm a Virgo, so I tend to want to do things well and to be perfect about things and be very self-critical. Those are some of the common traits of being a Virgo. I'm just wondering if those astrological signs play a role in how you are able to dissipate things. Like, is it easier or harder based on what you're going through, on which sign you may be? Does that have a bearing on any of that as far as releasing energetic entrapments?
Are you asking me and each one of us?
Either of you. Yeah.
Well, we will respond to it, and we would agree with you that yes, the astrological choosing that a human makes actually amplifies the healing or what it is that they are bringing in that they want to heal. It's astute of you to recognize that there is a trait of perfectionism that comes with the Virgo sign. That's what you are carrying, yeah? And so your lineage carries this thing as well. And we would tell you that perfectionism has a place at times of satisfaction, and then at times of dissatisfaction. It will make one condemn and judge themselves of whether, in fact, it would be unreasonable almost to the degree that they would judge what perfectionism was actually, or what the level of what they were providing as far as perfectionism would be. So in answer to your question, Heidi, you are probably noticing in your experience that you do encounter a lot of self-judgment, a lot of condemnation that comes through what you deem as being perfect, or what you would observe in yourself as being perfect. And it might be quite a bit more magnified than the average or another sign, let's use that term, would be. Yes?
Yeah, I would agree with that. And Vera, what do you have to say about that?
Yeah, I would start from the switching perspective at the beginning. So again, it is a kind of a victim mentality that, oh, I was born under this sign, so I am this and that, so I'm predetermined by that sign, but it is reversed, like you have chosen the circumstances, the family, the parents, you want to experience your physical self in this life, so you choose that period to born on earth, so that it is reflecting on the outside world what you want to explore and how you want to explore. So if you say that I'm a perfectionist because of me being a Virgo, so it's reversed. I am a perfectionist. I want to explore this topic, how to manage life as want to be a perfectionist. So I choose a sign that is also emphasize that, let's say. And when I starting my self-discovery journey, and for example, I find astrology, and the astrologer said to me that you are a Virgo, so you are a perfectionist. Oh, that resonates. Yeah, so it's a mirror, a reflection to me. So it helps me to understand myself, but it is not the cause. I am the cause. So it's not the sign that causing you being a perfectionist, but you are the cause, and all the planets are aligned to that and reflecting that back to you.
But in effect, we are the cause, because based upon what one is emanating in their field is actually what draws the sign to them. It is not as though they go out into the astrological field and spin the dial and think, I will be that. They have actually lived their lives or performed in a way that has aligned them to perfectionism, and therefore they have chosen the sign of Virgo, you see. So it is by their choosing. It is not by victimization. That is not really what our intent was in what we spoke. Our intent was that through the choosing and through the living of one's life to explore perfectionism, or to have an experience that sometimes can feel difficult because of the pull or the draw that the Virgo provides in the area of expressing perfectionism. It would magnify something in them that they have already been living out in other lifetimes, that they are maybe wanting to transcend or live in a different way. Let's use that term. And the only way that you're going to live in a different way is to create in a different way. People are creating the lives that they will be living right now, presently, in the life that they are now in. And you would agree that, Heidi, the life you're living right now is largely been determined by what's in your past. It's already been lived, and now you have seen it. It is here. Yeah. So in this present moment, as you project out, one would have to, if they're not satisfied in the desire to be a perfectionist, or they feel as though it has caused a lot of suffering in them, then they would have to heal the wound that has actually created a connection between becoming a Virgo, so that they may reside under a different sign, or live a different life, or draw to themselves, let's use that term, something that would be quite different than what they have experienced presently. Yeah?
Yeah, I would agree. All right, so let's see if we could bring out the bringers of light and have an answer to, what do you feel would be important for humans to know right now in this moment? What do you think would be impactful for viewers to hear right now?
Yes, dear one. So we see big panic in the collective. Most people are afraid or have anxiety because what they see in the news, in the media, on social media, they fear where humanity is going. There are big question marks in most of people, and uncertainty is causing fear in the human self. Because when people are focusing what's happening on the outside and they see chaos, the human is automatically like switching off from its higher guidance and going into this survival mode, basically, to protect the physical self, protect the body to survive. And so we would encourage people to, let's say, we do not want to say that shut out everything 100% and do not deal with the outer world, but be very discerning about what they consume as an information or from the news, because most people are not trained to keep their center, keep their alignment with their higher guidance in normal circumstances. And if they put on themselves by watching the news, watching the horror, the natural catastrophes, the war, and so on TV, or watch violent movies, it is just oil on fire. So it is even harder for them to find their center, find their alignment with their inner or higher guidance, or however you wish to call it. So we would encourage you to shut most of that negativity out and understand that you need to focus on your alignment, on your, you can say, enlightenment, so that you can shift to a higher, better, more peaceful, loving earth, version of earth. Yes. But if you stay on the mindset focusing outward and watching what is collapsing around you, you will be constantly in this fear state that we have described. So this is our general message, but if you have any questions for details, we are happy to answer that.
Yeah, well, I think that was a good answer. And I think there are some that can deal with those negative experiences very well and not attached to them. And there are many of us, like myself included, I'm one that I don't watch the news because I find sometimes I'll hear something and it'll kind of get in me and it'll get stuck there and I don't like it. And so for me, I just feel much freer not having it on and not experiencing it. And I hear a story, like if something's going on somewhere in the world, eventually I hear about it and that's okay. Robin or Athena, did you want to answer that same question?
I think that's a perfect example, Heidi, that you've given. I've had a lot of clients that worry about maybe their husbands watching a lot of the war movies, Nazi movies. I myself can't watch them. If you're the type of person that you're an empath or you get greatly affected by things that material you're taking in, whether it's reading or watching it, you have to follow your guidance system, because if you're not feeling good, that's the signal that's going out. So where my husband can actually look at them, and this other client that I had, her husband as well, more as an educational thing, more as wanting to know what went on in the world, wanting to look at like what different regions or how people warred, what caused them. And so for him, it's just a totally educational thing, and there's very little emotion involved in it. So I think it's just important to understand that, as you said, you just have to know yourself and know how you're affected by that type of thing, because your feelings are what would really be what you would have to be on guard of or watching over.
Yeah. I think it's interesting. You mentioned empath, and I think on some level I am a little that way. I know Robin is a little that way. And it is very like even just something as silly as watching a commercial sometimes can bring me to tears, or I put myself in the place like it's that, like I'm feeling it as if I were that person. And so I think that for those people out there that have that experience, it probably is a good idea to close yourself off from those types of
it's
things.
just to maybe recognize, when I used to think about being an empath, I thought it was a curse. I just didn't like the way it made me feel, especially when you would go certain places and you'd start to feel that way yourself and you didn't like the feeling and you wondered where it was coming from. But what I've learned is that empaths have great creative value in the universe, and the intensity of which they feel and the quickness of which they feel it actually can really be creative or cause an effect in the universe quite quickly. And so our ability to recognize how we feel and to keep ourselves feeling good is a great addition, but us being ignorant of that could create a lot of things, maybe not positive or maybe not in the direction that we want to. If we were to go on and just watch anything or not be cognizant of how creative that energy really is, because the feelings that an empath feels are of a very high intensity, and so they have a lot of creative value.
Sure.
Yeah, and I experienced that on myself. For example, I'm also feeling very deeply sometimes, but what I noticed on myself, that I have this clear sense in my body, especially when I see someone hurt. So I, in my body, feel that hurt.
Me too.
And when I realize that when I see someone cut his finger or whatever, or even bigger issue, and I feel it in my body, I just wonder how I unconsciously could feel, for example, watching a movie where they killing each other and shooting themselves, and how numb we could get, because I don't always feel it. So I can watch a 90-minute or 2-hour movie where they are killing each other, an action movie, and I don't feel that pain all the time. But I'm sure that it is just because it doesn't hit my, feeling sensors on a conscious level, let's say. So that is why it's worth, checking yourself, and I'm sure that everyone is an empath, but we are more conscious of it, or we have a lower threshold to sense it with our physical senses, let's say. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. So right now, you had mentioned in our last question that there's a lot of fear and scary, uncertain things going on in the world right now. What do you feel? What does your group feel? I should ask. What would be the next best step for humans? I mean, obviously, we're going to try to block out some of the stuff that has a great effect on us, but what is the best next steps for humans to take moving forward?
Well, it is different for every human based upon their level of awareness. But we would say in general that everyone should make steps toward raising or expanding that awareness of conscious living, of consciously breathing, conscious eating, consciously feeling, consciously manifesting, yes, and getting to know yourself. Self-discovery is key to know your patterns, to see what is manifesting in your life, and if you do not like it, start to listen to your inner guidance that is trying to show you where your limiting beliefs, where your energy blocks, as Athena said, energy entrapments are, so that you can release those and then allow your desires to come in to manifest in your life on the physical plane.
Athena. Yeah.
So self-discovery and self-awareness, conscious living.
Okay. Athena, would you like to also answer that?
Yes. What we would like to add is that many times you have heard other speakers or other spiritual leaders speak about the I am presence, or tell you that you need to recognize that. And we would agree with that statement, because there are so many people that refer to a God outside of themselves, a source, the universe, all that is. There are many terms that a human uses to describe something that seems as though it is separate from itself. The statement "I am," or the "I am presence," really states the truth that you are not separate. We would never agree with the idea that their separateness existed. It's one of the reasons that we don't really believe in judgment or condemnation or atonement or punishment, as some would say, because that would mean that one would be punishing themselves, you see, and because you're not going to punish anything that is separate from you, because it does not exist. Everything is one thing. Every bit of anything in the universe, or that is part of this universe, is part of the one thing. And therefore, having to atone for something or to be judged by someone for something that another has done, it has already occurred the moment that the thing has occurred, because it's all connected. It's all one thing. It has reverberated through everything the moment it happened. So our advice to humans would be that you recognize who you are, that you claim the I am presence, that I am the God, that I am the universe, that I am all that is. And once you can really do this, it is almost like a singer who goes out into the world and realizes, I've got something special. I have a beautiful voice. And what does she do with that voice? Maybe she does some breath work or some type of singing, strengthening exercises to support the beautiful voice that she has. And you have to recognize, first and foremost, that you have a voice, and then you enhance that voice by the addition of the support and elements that will actually expand that talent or that extraordinary, magnificent gift that you have come in with. And we would tell you that you have a universe that is available to you in your recognition of your part of what you are. And once you recognize that, once you become this I am presence, and once you claim yourself as the gods that you are, you will immediately be supported. You'll immediately get the breathing lessons. You'll immediately get the things coming into your experience that will be presented to you by the universe simply by you claiming it. There's no work to do. There's no judgment. There's no condemnation. It's coming back down to you again. What can you own? What can you claim? When you claim something, you become it. This is how you create in the universe that you are a part of.
Okay. So at this time, I would ask if either Vera or Robin have questions for each other's group. There's so much information which we find in our Q&As and in our group sessions that we're so connected that even when it's not our personal question, we get so much out of it. So if you guys would like to share any questions for each other right now.
I'd love to ask Vera, just as Robin to Vera, how this experience has affected you in your personal life, how you've been accepted by your friends and family. Did you go through a period of time where you felt a little uncomfortable with that or judged by that, and how have you dealt with it? Because that's something that I definitely had to move through. I feel like I've gotten better with it. I've been outed just about everywhere now that I live, so people have found me out on the internet, and I've kind of come to terms with it. But I realize it's something that all channelers struggle with, and I think people that are aspiring to be channels would really like to hear how that is for you.
Yeah, as I mentioned, that women's circle really helped me a lot, because they are knowing what channeling is. They went to other channelers, so it was not something new to them. And also my Hungarian friends, some of them are really open to that and were willing to practice with me. So this is how I gained some confidence. And then, I also went to other channelers, and they said that if you desire to do this, if you created this, that it has happened to you, that you've started channeling, do not hold it back just because you fear, or your ego fears that you will be shamed or ridiculed or whatever, because you have to think about those that will benefit from this gift. And so I went for it and started this YouTube channel in English as well. So this is how it went. And basically what I always say, that I experienced the benefit of, finally get that guidance, which I was always looking for. And I realized that is why I went to that psychic like for that long, because I was sure that it is my truth, that it is not the truth what I can get from humans. So and it was like a preparing stage, that you will be once that guidance for yourself. And I know how my human self still can be, stressed out and depressed sometimes, or whatever comes my way, and whatever pattern, as we talked about, comes up again on that spiral of self-development. And when I sit down and they came through, it is just, who would not find it beneficial to have that soothing, loving guidance, that it is always in the energy of acceptance, of widening my perspective, of getting out of that stressful state and coming into this calm, really a higher perspective. And if I can share this with others, it's just cherry on top. So yeah,
thank you.
This is how.
Yeah. Vera, do you have any questions for Robin or Athena?
Yeah, if you, again, from Vera to Robin, how I heard your previous YouTube videos that you also started to channel another group or entity, and how this shift came about to you.
Yeah. Well, in the original channeling, when it first started, like you, they didn't want to name themselves, but the human part of us wants names. And it's the same reason we name our children. Got to call them something, And so in the beginning, there was a lot of naming going on, and it very quickly became tedious or difficult to discern who was actually speaking when. I kind of knew at first, but when there was 7 coming in and out, you could kind of feel some differences in your body, and you could try to keep remembering whose name was what. But that was when the idea basically was suggested from the group, that Athena, being the first one that named herself, that she would actually be the culmination or merge together and transmit. And it kind of works out where, depending on who I'm in exchange with, that dominant force or energy that kind of matches the client is more prevalent during that meeting. So that it could be very calm and soothing, or it could get really pungent and loud, depending on what was needed to surpass, kind of break through what it is that someone's struggling with. And so then after that, again, there were a couple of more that added. And then in this experience that I've had with the Kundalini rising, it's taken years for me to have that go through all the energy centers. And when it reached the top, there was this announcement. And that's a different thing for me, where I would sit down and be in a very blissful state, where you just feel this otherworldly presence. And the name Shiva would be said over and over again. And it was almost like a declaration that the Kundalini had reached the top and met the Shiva energy. And that's really the unification kind of with your own soul. It's your soul's expression that starts to come through. So when I have sit time and do lineage healing, because that's a big part of what I do, that is what happens. That's the Robin, the divine part of Robin merging. That's where that blissful state comes from. And I wouldn't say that it doesn't feel good when I'm channeling, but it doesn't feel like it does when I'm merged with the divine part of myself. That is where that ecstatic, blissful, high feeling, almost like you're on a drug that you don't want to leave from, comes from. And so I posed the question to my group and I said, hey, why am I not getting that feeling with you? And they said, because that's reserved for us. That's ours, you know. You get yours with your divine self, we get ours with ours. So so I wouldn't say that it's not loving and that it's not a wonderful feeling when I'm channeling, but the real wonderful feeling comes in when you connect to the divine part of yourself. And that's kind of the message I'd like to leave people with today, is that everybody has that available to them. And certainly, yes, you could channel a group if you wanted to too, but the level of satisfaction that you could attain by connecting to the divine part of yourself is way higher than channeling a group. It's the most blissful, wonderful place that you could ever find yourself in. And so that's kind of the experience that I've had. There have been times when Robin will channel Robin, and which is the divine feminine connected to the divine masculine. So it creates this unified field where the wisdom and knowledge is really wonderful and has great flow to it. But then there's Robin that channels the Athena in Truth group, which is really just a merging of consciousnesses. And as you said, it's not important about the name, but people do like to have something that they can put in to look up. You can't just say no name. You have to have some name. And so I would agree with you. That's kind of how mine arrived. And actually in the presence of confidence, in the call for confidence. I've said this before in recordings. I wasn't a very confident person, and I really would like to have become one. And that was something I was posing the question to myself. And so the group that I channel, or the name, the essence of Athena, a woman in her power, was the name that came forward that actually represented the quality of a woman in her confidence. So that's really how that was drawn to me through my experience.
So I just for our listeners, because I know we mentioned before the Shiva versus the Athena in Truth group. Do you find now that there are moments where Shiva kind of takes the front and decides that they're going to be the ones to answer, or is it primarily Athena that's still answering things?
I think what I'm finding is I do a lot of automatic writing, and there are regular transmissions that are downloaded that are included in our Q&A subscription on my website. And I'm finding more and more that the depth and value of those channel transmissions that are coming through are being written by Shiva. They're being written by the divine part of me, not necessarily the group. And so I can very much feel the difference between the two. It's a really high level of communication, and I'm kind of shocked and surprised myself after I go back and read them, what's come out on the paper. So that's how I would describe that to you. And yeah, there are times where I can very much feel the presence of that energy in the exchanges with clients, where the level of wisdom and knowledge that comes through, or it's almost like an authoritative feeling, even more authority feeling. That, yeah, I can definitely detect that.
Okay. All right. So Vera, if you would like to share with listeners how they could get a hold of you and what types of services you offer, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. My webpage is bringersoflight.eu, and also the YouTube channel is the same, Bringers of Light. And I offer one-on-one sessions. So if someone is wanting to hear what Bringers of Light, or I can share with them, I'm happy to help. And I also sometimes mix into the sessions what I have learned previously. So like I learned hypnosis and family constellation. So yes, what Robin said, that healing family lineage trauma is important. So whatever the client is requesting, or we see how the session goes and what is needed, and I always made it personalized version, so no session is the same. Yeah.
All right.
Well, I really enjoyed
Well,
meeting
thank
you.
you
Thank
so
you.
Thank
Yes,
you
thank
for
you so
having
much for coming on. It's always nice to experience another channeler and see how it works for them. We're always fascinated by stuff. We learn stuff every time we do it. So thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me, and I'm really grateful to